Welcome again to another episode of YBMcast Tennessee. Baron Mathis, appreciate everybody joining us this week. We've got an exciting guest this week, Scott Riggs, who I'm going to let introduce himself in a second. But before we do, I think it's going to be an interesting guest. He's got several different avenues and aspects, and he's done this travel ball thing for a long time. He's got a lot of high school exposure with his kids and some college stuff getting ready to happen, and just a whole lot of really cool insights into kind of what we are all experiencing going through travel ball right now. So I thought it would be nice to have him on, kind of talk and actually some advice and good stuff. He's one of my favorite people to see at the baseball field. Fortunately, we get to see a lot of each other at the baseball field. So without further ado, Scott, introduce yourself. Just kind of tell us who you are, baseball wise, whatever you want to talk about. Who are you?
All right. Scott Riggs. I live in Nolensville, Tennessee. Married with actually 5 kids, but 3 of the younger of the kids all played baseball and are playing baseball. Um, I'm currently a chief operating officer for a wireless communication infrastructure fund. That's my day job, and then being a baseball dad is my kind of my night job. So um, got got 3 kids that played. Jack is my 21-year-old, played at a high level. Decided to hang it up after he got to the state tournament in his senior year. Kind of hurt, but he went into a different avenue. So hopefully he'll do well. Got a middle. My middle son is Tate Riggs. He just signed with Queens University in Charlotte, North Carolina. Division One program, new Division One, smaller program, but we're excited that they want him and he's ready to go there. And then my youngest is Max Riggs, and he is 16, and he is going to FRA starting next year, and he is also a baseball player and a golf player. So he's going to do both next year.
I love it, and I'll tell the folks this. It's a really cool family. I've not got to meet the other 3. I've met Jack a couple times. I don't know him nearly as well as I do Tate. Obviously, just working through the recruiting process and getting to talk to him a whole lot and watching him at Nolensville pitch and really just take off. And then of course Max, I've known for several years as he's played for me with Midland. But the interaction between these 3, you talk about having an internal support system, which I think is incredibly important as you go through this game specifically that's rough. Those 3, and I'm sure that Dad can tell us something different. I'm sure they fight and bicker just like the rest of us with brothers. But those 3 are the biggest supporters of each other that you'll see. And it's kudos to you and Miss Riggs. But to see take off and finally get that opportunity to go to Queens and play D1, I know he's excited. I know you're excited. Can you talk us through that process, kind of the ups and downs of that roller coaster of recruiting?
Yeah. So in July of last year, Tate had a surgery that was pretty major on his hip, where it just had a lot of issues, and we got it cleared up. So he actually got recruited by the JUCO, Columbia State, and we we actually went into Columbia State on crutches and went for a visit, and he basically offered him right there. We accepted because we weren't sure. Tate wasn't sure, the process of recovery, how long it was going to be, kind of where he's going to be at. So he thought, well, probably ought to go JUCO route just because there was some unknowns. But I'll tell you, the kid, every day worked on his body and getting back, and he was basically at full strength and back at it at less than 4 months, which 6 months was the recovery time. And it was fascinating to see him work and just keep working. And then when he finally got to run, that was a big deal. And he was tossing already, but just to be able to get in that physical activity again was really cool. And then I went with him. He threw his first bullpen, in January, which was a big deal. He hadn't thrown really off his legs or anything, so it was kind of cool. And then, I mean, just unbelievable season started. We got into the season, and I mean, his speed increased. He had a 1 point some ERA in district play. Recently, just was awarded on Monday, first team all district. Um, it's just I'm probably more excited about the first team than he is. He walked in the house and we didn't even know if he got it or not. He just nonchalantly said, "Yeah, a few of us got it," and then just went on his day. I'm like, okay, but we were kind of excited because it was, it seemed like all the hard work that he put in just was, it was verified by not only our coach but other coaches that he played against, and I thought that was really cool. There was a lot of them voted for him, so that was pretty cool to see.
Well, sure. That's a really great milestone at the end of the work. It paid off. It came to fruition. I'm
Yeah,
gonna reset here just a little bit and take you back to when Max, Tate, and Jack were little. I mean, little bitty, just getting into this thing. Maybe even before travel ball, we're talking t-ball where the pants don't fit and you're wearing just an orange jersey or whatever's out there. Well,
yeah.
as they did kind of reach that travel ball age, whatever it was for you guys, and I know it wasn't in Nashville. Remind me where you guys were before you came down to Nashville.
We lived in southern Illinois, just right over the border of Evansville, Indiana. So a lot of people know Marion, Carbondale kind of area. We were kind of over in a rural area from there.
So you had at any given time three boys playing travel baseball, same ish age to where they kind of fall on the same weekends, playing on different teams, different three kids everywhere, trying to juggle that aspect. You got two others that are doing their own thing too. From a parent, and I'm a parent with two boys on two ages, two different age groups, two different teams, obviously separate weekends, and then I've got my own team. What advice do you give to parents who've got more than one kid playing travel baseball? How do you do it? Is it truly divide and conquer, or what is it?
Yeah, it does put a strain on your family. I will say that, and not a bad way. Just that me and my wife like to go to games together, and we couldn't. We had to separate, and of course, most of the time they couldn't drive, so you had to get them to the place. So I would say it's a hard thing, but I will say this: we had some of the best times. The travel baseball, not all of it's great, but a lot of it's great with the teammates. If you have good teammates, you got good coaches, and we just had so much fun traveling and playing different teams and in competition, and it was kind of like our vacations. We didn't get to take a lot of vacations for the last 10 years. I mean, honestly, those are our vacations. We took Wednesday through Sundays. Those are kind of our vacations going travel ball, but it was fun. I really enjoyed it, and I still enjoy it. I'm so looking forward to Max's travel ball and Tate's. He's going to play for the Brave Scout team, and
Mhm.
he's just going to pitch. That's a good way. I can just go to his and I can watch him pitch, and then we're done. And then he's probably done for the weekend, and I can go come back to the other one. So it's going to be pretty cool this summer.
That is perfect, and I love this age, especially when they turn 16, because it turns into pretty much nothing but travel. You've got maybe one local tournament, and everything else is the week long aspect tournaments at WWBA, or whether or not you're going down to Prospect Wire in Florida. And it's a fun year for 16 because they're waiting for that deadline where they can start being recruited themselves, or at least openly spoken to. They can be recruited, but openly
Right.
spoken to. So it'll be fun for these 16-year-olds to kind of experience. When coach says there's always eyes on you, well, there's really a lot. You can actually see them now, and they're here. So that'll be
Yeah.
fun.
I
A
can give
question
some
I had,
parents
yes,
I can give some parents advice on that.
go
We
for
did
it.
run into a lot of coaches or a lot of recruiters and coaches, but the coaches of the teams. And I'll tell you what, as parents, we made our kids carry their own bag. We did not try to hang around the dugout. We made sure that they could communicate with the coach correctly, and all those things set them up for, like, and I'll tell you, just to give you an example, during Tate's recruitment, I never talked to the coach one time except when we went and visited. That was the only time I had any interaction with any of them, and I thought that was fantastic. He did it all. He talked to him on the phone. He shared the videos. He told him what he was, where he was at, how he was doing things, how he went about his day as far as pitching. And honestly, that went a long way. So if that's some advice, hopefully, it doesn't help. If it helps if you just let him be a human being and a young man, and let him communicate with the coaches. It really makes it a big deal. Makes it easier.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Max has fallen right in that footsteps. I mean, that boy he'll talk to anybody. First of all, he's he's either a politician, a salesman, or I mean, the kid is just awesome to be around all the
Maybe a
time.
preacher. We don't know yet.
Could be. Who knows? I mean, whatever he's going to do, he's going to put a whole lot of work into it. Um, Taking it back again one more time to being young and seeing kind of in the southern Illinois, maybe even northern Kentucky, that Owensboro, Evansville, area where travel baseball is that different? Do you see any difference in maybe the aspects of how they run some programs and how we do in Nashville? Is it similar? Is it not good or bad? Just differences?
Well, I had the pleasure, of kind of running an organization with some other guys. So it wasn't as big as obviously Midland, but it was our own organization in Southern Illinois. So I kind of, I kind of had a really good taste of kind of how things were ran, before I even stepped into that role. But then coming down here, I will say this, just even though it wasn't that far away, Tennessee baseball we always considered it a lot tougher competition. We just did. When we went up against a Tennessee team, we knew that we had to play a really, really good game, because these guys were, they're fundamentally sound, most of them. So I think that made us work harder to go back to our kids and and work on the fundamentals, and get them in the right spot, and quite frankly, act like a Tennessee team most of the time. That's what we said. Look at this team come out here. They're fully dressed. They're ready to go. They warm up properly. They do all the right things, and we kind of maybe not doing those things. So I think that's the biggest difference I probably saw. Um, you know, the competition was a little better down here, for probably that reason. I think they worked on it a little bit harder than we did.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And what's interesting for me this next weekend, not this coming weekend, but the one following Mother's Day weekend. I'm taking my 10-year-old, and I don't know why, but I'm going to do it because it's going to be a lot of fun. Is why I'm doing it, and it's good exposure. We've got a lot of really good friends with Game 7, and it's a Midland Invitational in Edwardsville, Illinois. So up there in the St. Louis
I
area.
know it well. I know it very well.
So this is going to be the first time that these 10-year-olds have left the state to go travel. They're going to have
Fun.
that hotel experience, the pool, all the stuff that goes with that, and everybody's going to be exhausted on pool play day. I'm positive of it, but
Yeah.
it's going to be interesting to see other teams because we typically run into each other in Middle Tennessee in about a 60-mile radius. You play a lot of the same teams, so we're going to get out of there and kind of go that direction. And I'm interested to see how teams are run, kind of organizations are run as we go that way. But that should be fun.
Yeah, it'd be fun. I think you'll run into probably some St. Louis teams, and there's some good ones up there. They're actually really good. They work at it very hard, so that'd be fun. That's a good place to play.
Yeah, I want to talk one more. We briefly talked about Tate's injury, and it's not just Tate, but there's a whole lot of just emphasis on youth sports and arm care and injury prevention and all those good things that are happening. And I know that Tate and Max both, and because of what you do, you've got them enrolled in It's Pettit therapy, and the guys do a fantastic job of just that, of preventing injuries, especially baseball specific, and not only that, just to get stronger and work out baseball specific wise. Can you speak to that as a dad? Because we see a lot of 14 and 15-year olds really starting to, they've thrown maybe a little bit too much or not enough. I mean, you could go either way, and there's not a whole lot of care until it's too late.
Yeah, I tell you, so Pettit came to us through a few years ago through acquaintance, and just by luck, we thought, you know what, maybe we should try. Well, actually, I'll tell you where he came from. It came from Nolensville High School, where they came and did a presentation. And so the presentation wasn't like, hey, I want you just to come into my group, pay me money, and I'll just work with you. That wasn't really it. What they said was, and what resonated was, we want to prevent injury. We want to make you stronger in areas that you think you might be strong, but you're actually not. Arm is one of them, absolutely. And here I am with a pretty big picture. I thought at the time, even I thought, you know what, this will be a good thing for him. He needs to go and work on his strength around his arm, around his core, so where he's not relying on his legs, where he's not relying on his arms so much. And I think that single-handedly really turned the corner for him, where he was throwing, mid 70s to high 70s as a freshman. All of a sudden now he's almost 90 where he's at today. And it's really based on that strength that he built. And it was a foundation. And Max goes 3 times to 4 times a week right now. He's creating himself like he's just incredibly in great shape. I mean, it's best shape of his life, really, right now. We looked at pictures, by the way, a year ago in this year, and it's like, oh my gosh, not even close. But anyway, but I'll give you an example. Max was very slow running. His speeds were, high 7, 8s. Now he's down to almost in underneath 6 in the sixes. I mean, you can take off a second off by just doing what they're doing. That's phenomenal. It's like it's a difference maker. You're sitting there running to first, and that second that you needed to get down to first before the ball got there, it's a big deal. It's a game changer, and then you're playing short or second, and you get to a ball, and you're a lot quicker going after the ball. That makes a big difference. So I'd say not only the care part and not getting injured, but definitely increased activity, increased speed, strength, agility, all those things were. I mean, I didn't. Jack, going back to my oldest, I wish I had that available to me because he literally has and still has a Bryce Harper swing. He is fantastic. He can hit a baseball better than the other two. But I'm afraid his injury, we just didn't have that core values and the strength and conditioning like they do now. And I think that would have changed him, and he probably would be playing right now.
Yeah, and Jack is an interesting story because we've talked about him being a great baseball player, but he's doing some special stuff now. I've just tried to I delve into it every once in a while. I was like, this is actually really really cool, and I don't have any idea. So you are the one to ask. Can you tell us what Jack is doing now? And man, it's cool.
Jack is actually he races dirt cars. They're called dirt late model, and they're we actually own a team. So he's actually working with my team, and it's called SRR Sheppard Riggs Racing. Um, I've been in the racing kind of industry for about, I think this is my 20th year, 21st year. I've owned a team, a major team, for about 5 or no 6. This is my 6th year. Um, and so we race. I have a full time driver that's what they do. It's his full time job with a crew. They go out and race, and it's a business. What Jack's doing is kind of helping. and getting to learn the business, working on his craft, trying to be good at racing. There's people that can make a living at it. I'm not sure that's the direction he's going to go, but there's so many avenues in racing that you can go. You can, it's incredible the amount of options that he'll have. He has right now, actually. So he's learning the business. He's driving. My oldest boy, Jason, he runs as well, but he has a limited schedule because of he owns a business. But we kind of got racing in the family. Max wants to race, but I always tell him that baseball's in the way. You just can't do both. In the summer, you got to really go to baseball if you're going to do that. But racing is great. We love it. We've been doing it as a family ever since Jack was in diapers. He was at my race because I raced early. So we have pictures of him in diapers in my, on my car and all kinds of stuff. So it's pretty cool. It's a family type environment. Racing's not like some people have a stigma, but there's tons of good people in racing, and it's really fun, and I've had a blast.
That's really really cool. It's fun to hear Max talk about it every once in a while, and I echo the same thing. I said, no man, you've got to be my 2-hole hitter right now. We nicknamed you
Yeah,
Barrels for a reason. I need you to be here
yeah,
with me. So, but it's really really cool that everybody has kind of transitioned from baseball into whatever that they're getting ready to go do. Tate is getting ready to take that next step, still with baseball, but going to Queens, he's not going to have any option but to get bigger, faster, stronger. That whole workout regimen is getting ready to be just automatic for him.
yeah,
But it's cool to see everybody go through the whole travel ball experience and just continue to do it with so many obstacles of kids in different places on the same weekend and everybody doing their part to get to the ultimate goal. Is there
yeah. I
anything
think.
that you would do? Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Sorry.
I'm just thinking, is there anything looking back all this time? Is there anything that you wish you could have done sooner, later, not done at all? Maybe have done. Is there anything that you would have changed?
I would say with Jack, um, young kid, exceptionally talented at about probably 10 years old. Not at 6 or 7 or 8. Honestly, didn't know he would probably going to make it at that age. Um, but I knew at 10, I knew he was above the talent. And so I thought, okay, so he was a great pitcher like his brother, like his middle brother Tate. And I think it was right, when he kept going up and he was in middle school. I think that's where his arm just got tired. There wasn't pitch rules, there wasn't pitch counts, and although we, as a family, tried to make sure that we cared for his arm, but I'd say, regardless of what the pitch counts, I would say if I had to change, I would say, you know, be careful on how much activity you are with throwing when you're a pitcher, for sure. And what I see even today, we see this a lot, is even though you're a pitcher, and even in high school, and I'm just saying, we have people that will pitch one day and then the next day they're, in the infield. That's a hard, there's no recovery. Like if you have too many throws, so I would just say recovery is so important anymore if you want longevity and be able to pitch for a long time. But I would change Jack. I would have cut him way back. Would not let him pitch some weekends. Those are the kind of things. I know it hurts the team, but you got to look out for the kids, and that's something that we just weren't very educated really at that time. It was coming in, but it was now. I think it's in right in front of us. I think we know, majority of us know what we need to do with kids. So I think we're good. But that's the only thing I'd change. I'd say go have fun, play at the highest level you can play at. Whatever your kids, if it's I wouldn't, and also I wouldn't distinguish between single A and triple A. I know people make big deal about that, but you know what? This, Baron. We got beat by a double A team, and we thought we were like all that, but it just happens that people play well, and just because they're limited, they're labeled double A doesn't mean anything. I would just play. I think it's cool. The kids get a lot of games in a short period of time. they get to see where they rank out. You know, they know where they're at. You're going to see good players. You're going to say, hey, I want to be like that guy, and I need to work to be like that guy. So I think that's what I would say.
Fantastically put. I really appreciate it. Mr. Riggs, you're doing all the right things. Can't thank you enough for taking a little time and talking with us. Really do appreciate it. Look forward to this summer.
Yeah, me too.
We're going to have a blast, man.
Yeah,
we're absolutely going to have a blast. Well, again, and we'll talk soon. Appreciate everybody joining us this week, and we'll be on again next week with another special guest and continue to talk baseball. Like, share, subscribe, do all the stuff there on YouTube. Share it with your friends. It helps us out a lot. Get a lot of folks who might want to watch who just don't know how. So hopefully we get it in front of their eyes. But Mr. Riggs, thank you again. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Baron. Appreciate it.